Okay, so now I have to start over. I screwed up. Okay, so welcome to Blue Girls Video Podcast. I have dreams for you for November of 2023, the end of November. It's called Deception. A young dark haired woman is sitting in front of an overweight woman at her desk. Papers are flying everywhere, which makes me apprehensive in real life. A lot of deception going on in important documents conveniently go missing. She is doing this right in front of the paper. This woman with dark hair. Then I am riding a bus with my eyes closed and trying to intentionally sense bus stop. Just as the bus turns, I pull the cord to get off. I just passed a popular ice cream store in the Midwest. Later again, I'm on the bus. I got off to go to McDonald's, but once I got off, there was a small grocery store, possibly a Trader Joe's. I saw a young blonde haired woman working there. No one seems to care that she was working barefoot without any socks or shoes. I had my shoes on during this dream, but after seeing this woman, I looked down to my feet and was barefoot myself. Okay, so this dream starts off where there's this woman who's got dark long hair, I think like brown eyes, and she's sitting in front of this other woman at her desk. And there's papers flying everywhere, like she's going through the papers and she's, talking to the woman, even though the woman is just kind of sitting there. And the woman doesn't know that she's doing it, but she's doing it right in front of her. So papers are conveniently going missing. And so the next part of the dream is I was like, okay, God, where do you want me to go? And so, I meant, I'm not really good at hearing from God. I mean, you can hear from God, but then I don't really know if it's God or whatever. Um, so, um, so what I did in the dream is that I closed my eyes and I sensed where I was supposed to get off, and I pulled the bus cord to get off. So, where I got off was there was this an ice cream store. It's a famous one in the Midwest. Um, so then later I was going to go to McDonald's, but then I went to Trader Joe's, and there was this woman working there who I looked down and she wasn't wearing any socks or shoes, and I thought that was kind of strange. And of course and nobody really cared, so let her, so there's got to be something symbolic or whatever with that, because they wouldn't let her walk around, especially like in a food store. um so anyway, um I think it might be because I've had several injuries. I will say that. I should probably just say a disclaimer. I don't know why, but so anyway, wherever I am, I always have some socks or and shoes on, just to protect my feet. Um, and I've done that for quite a while. Um, so it may just be referring to a foot injury or something. I don't know. Hanging out at a church. So this is weird. I saw people waiting for a church session in the pews on different nights. It would just be a couple of people at a time. An African American man by himself, my youngest brother, but he was younger. Then my older brother was in possibly Colorado, and he was driving a group of guys a couple hours away. I'm not for sure. The guys paid him a little bit. Then thought of accounting something. A country begin with the letter A. It's also a title for a movie, so maybe it has to do with the movie, not the actual country. I don't owe you a goddamn thing. Okay, so hanging out at church. So what was going on in the dream is that I was at the same church, and I was being shown different nights. Like there were just people who were waiting for the sermon, and I would just see like a couple people there. Then the next night, like I was hanging out there. Um, let's see here. Yeah, and I've been having dreams in which my brothers are actually younger than what they actually are in real life. And that's been going on for a while. I would say like a year. It's kind of strange. But anyway, um, so okay, so my older brother was going to drive some guys. I remember that there was like three or four guys. They were going to drive them north of Denver. And he didn't really have a problem with it, whatever. And I think these guys, they were outdoorsmen or whatever. They were going to do skiing or something like that, or hiking. I think it was actually skiing, but I'm not sure. And so he agreed to do that. And there was something about a different country beginning with the letter A. Okay, so there was a movie that begins with the same letter. So I heard in the dream, I don't owe you a goddamn thing. And I think this had a reference to one of my last rentals, in which I think they screwed something up. And anyway, oh, so here's another one with this is December now, 2023. I was sitting in, its eyes closed again. I was sitting in a car, right, with my eyes closed. I might have been up for most of the night. All I could have was kids, all I could see or something, I can't even read it, here was kids playing, mainly girls with their moms around them. You know, it's pretty sad when you can't even read your own handwriting. But like when I was like 17 or whatever, people used to tell me, a couple people, that my handwriting was like a doctor. And then many years later, I went to this this one spiritual thing or whatever it was, you know, New Age, and the woman said that I used to be a doctor in my past life. I was an educated English doctor. Yeah. So anyway, so the next dream is Utah. I definitely saw the Southwest, specifically Utah, with its desert climate. Although it's not a place that I have ever been to in real life. It looks like a tourist destination. Then the dream switches with a very nice resort with mainly water pools and water fountains. An old friend of mine is in the background. E. So yeah, what ended up happening is there was this apartment that came up. Well, I meant they just built it, or they're still building it. And I think that the town, which I've never been to, is kind of like a resort town for skiing. But this was what's weird about this is it was water, um, and so anyway, so the next dream is Dropout. A guy with scraggly hair and no shirt was running. I dropped out to take care of my mom. They laugh at me. I am going to die in 24 hours, or was it 48? Probably the 24th. I didn't think it was me. Okay, so I've had several dreams in which I die, and that's a little disturbing. Um, just because it could, it could actually be an actual physical death or whatever, or it's symbolic, but anything like that. And it's been happening in the last couple years. It's only happened like a couple times, but it's still quite disturbing. Um, so this guy, some guy with scraggly hair and he wasn't wearing a shirt, was running, and he was running away from something. I don't know who he was or what he was running from. So, so anyway, what this is all about is the last time I was in college, I dropped I was I dropped out of college in order to take care of my mom. Um, because I took care of her, well, at the time for like 6 months or whatever, and she was, I don't know, someplace in this assisted facility or whatever it was. So I was taking care of her, and and I think I was taking, I don't know how many classes I was taking, one or two, I'm not sure. So I dropped out in order to take care of my mother, and she did pass probably within a year of that time that I was taking care of her. Um, so, and then I put in there, they laughed at me. Okay, so there was this one job, and people like to pick on me. Um, I've noticed that, and it was kind of the area too in which they're kind of mean. Um, So they kind of laugh at me a little bit, but they kind of pick on me. So I always, I don't like large groups. I've always been like that even before of this. Um, so it says I'm going to die in 24 hours, or was it 48? So the 24, it could be the 24th, like the month. And I did have another dream of me dying, and I went to Iowa, something like that. But like I said, it's kind of disturbing because it's trying to figure out, um, what is it? It just is to have any dream of a person's death, including your own. From Reno. Okay, so that's the next one. We're still in December 2023. A pretty young woman with dark long hair was with her boyfriend. I was with her walking down the halls. She seemed to be from Reno, or she seemed to like Reno and Vegas. Another guy was sitting at his desk. I was going to ride on an e-bike to Reno. There were a bunch of them outside. I got on one but didn't finish the trip. None of the area looks familiar to me at all, nor does it look like the Southwest. Then recall sitting at a table for an appointment. I thought something, what am I going to tell them regarding my last rental or Reno? Okay, so for the longest time, and this is many years ago, this is probably about 8 or 9 years ago, I had dreams of either I was supposed to go to Reno or Las Vegas, and I did end up in one of them actually. So it's kind of strange now to have dreams of Reno or Vegas, because I think that time is over with that state. And I prefer Reno. I don't like Vegas, just because it's just too big. I think I stated in one of my other dreams I don't like New York. I wish I liked New York. I try to make myself like New York, but it's just too much activity going on, too much noise. And I mean, there's always something to do, but I get really overwhelmed there. But I wish I wasn't like that. I wish I could, kind of explore more and be okay with that. But it's just, like I said in another video, it's not my cup of tea. Okay, so I remember this. It was like, okay, there was a young woman, and she was I thought she was either from Reno or Vegas, one of them. And I think it was a casino we were at, but we're walking down a hall, and she was thin. I'm not like, anorexic thin, but she was, like not overweight at all. And she seemed to like Reno and Vegas. And I remember, and then there was another guy, and I don't know who he was, but he had like light hair. He was a little overweight. And I was going to ride an e-bike somewhere. But this wasn't, it was like the scenery changes. Not the scenery, but it was like, it was a casino, and then I was somewhere else. Um, what I did is I got on an e-bike. They had e-bikes outside of the building, and I started doing the trip, and then I turned around for some reason. I don't know why. Um, okay, so I was sitting at a table for appointment. So I wanted to, okay, so obviously it was about a rental, and so I was going to say, what am I going to tell them about my last rental? What am I going to tell them? Um, by the time this airs, what's going on is I found out all of a sudden, okay, and I think this has partially to do with my age as well. And my youngest brother is having problems too, is finding rentals. Um, because like at my age now, they just want to put you in some assisted living, and it's like F you, because I'm the type of person. The only thing I really need help with is some minor cleaning, light cleaning, and probably public transportation. That's about it. And I remember one time when I first got sick with my heart. Well, not first time, but like one of the times. Um, and my friend was like, oh, one of my friends was like, oh, you need someone to take care of you. And I just got pissed, okay? Because I'm like my mom, I'm non-compliant. I mean, I don't, personally for me, I don't like, I prefer to do anything and everything by myself. And I rarely ask for help, but if I need it, like I said, transportation and light cleaning, that's probably about it. And I do think might need some rehabilitation with my legs or my feet. But I don't like that when people, okay, well, she's almost 55, And to me, that's a death sentence because it just, and I did recently have a nightmare that someone was going to try to take away my freedom, and I flew. I just left. I don't know. That's very scary to me. So anyway, back to this. Um, Warehouse and chocolate. Okay, so two women were sitting on the floors of a very large warehouse. The floors were linoleum and brand new. I remember this. It was kind of like a brand new building that they built. And it was kind of like the way it was shaped is like there's a square right here and there's another square. It was kind of weird. It was like the same size though. And there were two women sitting, like one was here, one was here, and they were sitting on the floor. So that was kind of strange on how it was built. But so the next dream is searching. I had several dreams. I may have been at a hostel when told women that used to come to this area in my late 20s, not going to say dates due to possible amount they should not owe. I remember young people coming and going, the same older woman who would always help younger women with a room would not talk to me or even acknowledge that we knew each other. Then I was doing a series of tests for physical therapy. I was just talking about that. I had to, do something precise, but my legs were too weak to try again. But then the woman doing the test disappeared, then was somewhere with different looking vans. Okay, so sometimes this happens, like I'll be sitting there and I'll read something and then, there's so many dreams and then all of a sudden I find that, what I'm talking about is just a couple dreams later. Sometimes that happens. So anyway, I was at a hostel. So I know where this is at. Well, there was a hostel. It's not a hostel anymore. But I think I do know where this is at in the late 20s. I do know where it is in the dream. And I try not to go to hostels. I like stay there because I feel like I'm like one of the oldest people there, and it's kind of embarrassing. But I don't have much money, and what can I do? Either it's that or nothing. Sometimes. So there's this woman who has been keeps appearing in my dreams, and at first I thought it was one of my former landladies, who's just a great manager, a great landlady, and she's always fair. Okay, so and she does the right thing, which is kind of rare nowadays. But anyway, so I thought it was her, but I don't know if it's her or not. And I've had a couple of dreams of this, but it's not. It's more like a renting a room kind of situation. And it kind of doesn't look like her. It does a little bit. So I'm not for sure if it's her or not. So then I remember I was on a treadmill. Okay, and I was just talking about this, that I was doing a series of tests for physical therapy. I was walking on a treadmill, and my legs were weak. And so what I did was I was walking on the treadmill, and my legs were weak. And then the woman who was helping me just disappeared. And I heard I said the word again because I wanted to try again. I used to walk around in my 20s around the lake like 3 times a week. But, that's a while back. And so anyway, I was somewhere with different looking vans. Okay. Bus station. A Mexican woman was at a bus station which had an upper and lower level. There were several doors to leave, and I was waiting for bus. The bus driver arrived, and she had to go and get her coat. She left her coat. She had this small storage, which seemed to be within the bus station. Okay, yeah. So there was this Mexican lady, and there was the bus station had an upper and lower, and she forgot there was like a little storage in the bus in the bus station. So she went back there and grabbed her coat. Favorite YouTuber, This stream was a little odd. I was having a conversation with my favorite YouTuber. Well, it looks like her anyway. Don't recall what we were talking about. It might not have been her. Kind of looks like her. So there was just whatever conversation with this YouTuber that that it kind of looked like her. I don't think it was her though. So the next stream, and this is going to be the last stream for December. Boston, B-I blank. You can figure it out. There were several women either in Boston or from Boston that had a dark energy within them. I cannot remember the word I got when I woke. It wasn't B. I somewhat like Boston more so than New York. New York is too expensive and too many people for me. Okay, when a woman from Boston don't seem to like me or vice versa, I get along well with women from Texas. Anyway, it was a group of women with long dark hair, either Italian or Mexican descent. Okay, so there was this Boston B woman. I do like Boston more than I like New York just because I like the idea of the Irishness. Well, a lot of people, there's quite a few people from Ireland or Irish descent. Just because I just like it better. So that's true. Women from Boston don't like me, but women from Texas I get along with. It's kind of strange. I don't know why. So, so then there was like a group of women that either had dark hair, you were either Italian or Mexican descent. I'm not sure. Okay, so that is going to conclude for December of 2023, and thank you for watching.